Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Everyone's been waiting for the new recording of Herbert Blomstedt doing Brahms' First Symphony with the Leipzig Gewandhaus Orchestra on pentatone. And I have it. Here it is. And it's a bore. A monumental bore. Hugely disappointing. Oh, I wish it weren't so. We all love Herbert Blomstedt, don't we? I mean, he's a wonderful conductor. He's made great records, astounding recordings of everybody from Nielsen to Sibelius to Richard Strauss to even a great Mahler too. He's done wonderful, wonderful work. And he did a beautiful Brahms 4 with the Gewandhaus just a few years ago. But my word, this is a non-happening. Non-happening, folks. It really sounds like old man's music. And I don't want to talk about the fact that he's like 175 and quite on in years, because we just did our Brahms Symphony idea list, and we included Stokowski, who was 375 when he did his Brahms Fourth, and it was the most exciting performance you've ever heard in your life. So age has nothing to do with it. You know, the Brahms First is Brahms's most fiery and dramatic symphony, at least in its first movement, and basically all the way through. I mean, it's a grand major statement, and it needs to sound like a grand major statement. We talked about in the previous talk how, the opening is marked poco sostenuto. And, for that reason, a lot of modern performances treat it very gingerly, with just a tap, 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 tap. And, well, this is not poco sostenuto. This is molto sostenuto. It's like a giant string line with a little bit of timpani underneath, and the winds aren't cutting through the texture. It's heavy and thick, but at the same time, insubstantial, which is really annoying. Really annoying. And then as the first movement goes on, you get to the moment of recapitulation. Now, the moment of recapitulation is one of Brahms's most exciting passages. It's huge. It's this enormous buildup. I mean, the tension should increase to the breaking point. Oh, is there no tension here at all? None. Zero. And the actual tempo and phrasing of that opening theme, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, ba-do-do-do-do. Here it's delicate and mincing, and Blomstedt takes the exposition repeat, which in this case is a big mistake, because first of all, it's a bad repeat. It really is. It's not well prepared, and it's awkward. It's an awkward transition, and most performances are wise to leave it out, quite frankly. But if you're going to do it, the whole point is to have as much momentum and tension as possible in the exposition so that when you hear the repeat, you're anxious to hear it again. This performance, it comes back to the beginning and you go, oh no, I have to listen to it again? No, anything but that. That is not the impression you want to make. That said, the playing is extremely beautiful. It's a very sensitive performance, but it's all sensitivity and no fire. And the music has got to have the fire. It's got to have the passion. Now, the slow movement, the second movement, is gorgeous. Gorgeous. I mean, it's to die for. You see exactly what Blomstedt is about in that slow movement. It has never been more beautifully played. The very opening chord, you just want to melt. It's that beautiful. It's gorgeous. But, slow movements do not make the symphony. The third movement is very sensitive, very pretty, but also, again, it just doesn't have any energy. Even that relaxed movement, I mean, yeah, it's like an allegretto. It's not exactly a scherzo full of, rhythmic vigor, but it's got to have a pulse. I mean, it can't be in a coma. And the finale, the finale. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? A finale with beautiful string playing. The opening introduction has plenty of atmosphere, but once it gets going, again, nothing happens. I mean, nothing. And when the first big tutti comes in after the big tune, bum ba da da da, dum ba da da dum ba da da dum. You know what it does. It's got to sound excited, and this is just dull. It's flat, it's dull, it accumulates no momentum, it accumulates no energy, and so the end, yeah, it's loud. I mean, Blomstedt's a fine conductor. He's not going to completely blow the thing. I mean, he's not going to do anything perverse. But by the same token, he doesn't do anything interesting. Nothing. Nothing at all. It's all very pretty, very tame, very polite, very nice, and completely lacking in any of the heroic sort of grandeur that Brahms built into that concluding apotheosis in the final pages. It's such a letdown. I'm kind of shocked, to be honest with you. I mean, we know. I mean, conductors, when they get to be old, sometimes they like to just play pieces for certain aspects, which, impress them, or they emphasize certain things, certain qualities to the exclusion of all others. I mean, you will never hear a more beautifully played, sensitively balanced performance that completely misses the point of the music, as often as not, particularly in the outer movements. I mean, I could play that slow movement 100 times over. It's so beautiful. I really, really could. But I can't recommend that you're going to buy a Brahms First Symphony just for that. And the coupling is the tragic overture, which we also just talked about, where, we talked about the Anschel performance, which is 2 minutes slower than this one, and about 150 times more exciting and tense and angstful and full of just, that menace and the inevitability of fate. This is just dreadful. It's completely flat and lifeless. It really is. I mean, there are moments in that overture where you don't know that it's moving at all. I mean, you just can't tell because it just seems to have no direction in terms of, the way it's shaped and the way it's moving forward. It just sits there. And it's moving. I mean, it's not a slow tempo, but it just sits there. It lays an egg, and that egg never hatches. And it's such a pity. It's such a pity. Because, of course, Blomstedt is a wonderful, wonderful conductor. And, I really sometimes wonder when conductors get to be that old, whether it's really smart for them to keep going. I can't help but throw that out there because, we've seen so many conductors who conduct well past their prime. And as long as you can wheel them out and get them in front of the orchestra, they'll just keep going and nothing's going to stop them until people say, wait. You have to think hard and ask yourself in honesty, after having an illustrious career and issuing dozens and dozens of absolutely fabulous discs, do you really have something to bring to the table still? No one is beyond criticism. No one is beyond self-examination. Even when you're in your 90s and when you are making recordings and you're going up in front of the public of standard repertoire classics, which everyone has done a million times, you really need to ask yourself that question. You really do. You can't live in your own little bubble and just pretend that everything you do is wonderful. And I'm not saying that Blomstedt is one of those people. I'm not, because there's too much sensitive music making going on here for me to believe that that's quite the case yet. But I will tell you, he's getting there. He's got to wake up. He's just got to wake up and bring back some of those splendid qualities of unaffected but exciting musicality that characterized his earlier performances. I'm afraid this just won't do. So keep on listening, folks, but not to this. There are plenty of other Brahms firsts, and we've talked about a bunch of them that are spectacular. And spectacular is the last word that comes to mind in considering Blomstedt's new recording of it. Bye-bye.